Did you see Brand New Day?
Yes.
Okay, then. What's funny is that my brother actually saw it before I did.
Oh.
That was just because he went up to like Oregon back in like the end of July. So like the day before he came back is when the movie came out. So he and a bunch of his friends went and saw it like the day of, basically. And he normally doesn't watch any of that stuff. But he actually really liked it.
Oh.
And that is notable because he's kind of in that camp of like, Marvel and the jokes and all that stuff, right? He's kind of in that camp. Doesn't really care for them. I mean, admittedly, I know the series has kind of been through it in the last few years, but point is, he's never been like big into any of that. So when I heard him say, I was actually really surprised. I actually really liked it. When I heard him say that, I knew, okay, this movie is not going to be what I would normally expect, right? Because I've seen like basically all of them since I got into the series in 2018, which in retrospect was really annoying because it meant that I got in at like the last second, basically. But oh well, I got in, like summer 2018. That was when I really got into it, right? Watched all the other movies, and then Captain Marvel, Endgame, Far From Home, everything from that point onward I saw in the theater. The only one I haven't seen was Brave New World that came out last year. The only reason I didn't see that one was just because my friend who I normally go to see those movies with, like for whatever reason, I don't know if it was a money thing or whatever, but I just didn't end up coming along that time when he went to see it. For whatever reason. But that was the one exception. I mean, of all the movies it could have been, that's one where I don't think I'm not gonna lose sleep over. I still haven't seen it. I know I could just watch on Disney Plus, but I just haven't felt like it. I'm sure I'll eventually. There's a bunch of stuff I still need to catch up. Like I've seen again every single movie I've seen in the theater since like the first Captain Marvel.
I noticed both you and me are playing as Mario.
Yeah. Different Marios, though.
I had a different costume on, but I changed it just before we started.
Sticking with the stock cart for right now.
I used a boo to avoid a red shell, and it ended up hitting you.
But yeah, so even though I've seen pretty much all the movies, there are like the last like 2 to 3 years of the shows I haven't seen at all. I really lost interest in the shows. Like the last one I watched, I think, was She-Hulk.
Oh yeah,
and that, and even then, I didn't watch that one when it came out because of how infamous it was, and I just was kind of like, I'm gonna watch it because I want to see how I feel about it, but I waited like good 4 or 5 months to watch it. And then I haven't seen anything after that point. What has come out? See, I didn't see Loki season 2. I didn't see Ironheart or Agatha or Daredevil or any of them. Anything that came out like 2023 or later, I have not seen. Now, thankfully, they're not doing as many of them as they used to. They've acknowledged that like the 2021, 2022, having a billion things in one year was like a bad thing. Like we had four movies in 2021, and we had like 4 or 5 shows just in 2021 alone. Like we did not need, like at the time that was neat, but it became obvious very quickly that like we don't need this many shows or even this many movies, and it's kind of just stretching themselves too thin. So now it's like we get like 2 movies a year. Like Deadpool was the only movie that came out in 2024. Just Deadpool. Right? And then like last year we had Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. And then this year it's Brand New Day and then Doomsday. That's only 2. So I think that's fine. I think 2 is fine. I wouldn't mind if it was 3, but I definitely think 4 is excessive. And 3 is probably unnecessary. I think 2 is perfectly fine. But the shows though are the big one, because like even like again like having 4 or 5 shows, it's like we don't need that. Really don't need that. So now it's like again like maybe 2 shows a year, I would say. Like what would like maybe 3, but they're I don't know. I feel like they've done a better job with that. But either way, I haven't seen any of those. But getting back to the original point, is one of the reasons why I haven't. Well, I've kept up with the movies because I like going to the movies with them, and also because that's an easy time commitment, right? It's just a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Whereas with a show, I have to keep up with every episode as it comes out, and at least the MCU shows I've seen they're basically 6-hour movies. They're not really TV shows. They're basically 6-hour movies. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but when there's so many of them, it's just like I have like 5 or 6 6-hour movie shows I still have to watch. Like it's like I just don't really want to do all that, for something that I'm probably not even gonna really care about. Like it's gonna feel like a check mark. I think that's the biggest problem, is that like the shows in particular, not really the movies, but the shows have felt like homework, right? It feels like I gotta watch this one, even though I don't really care, because I have to be up to date. I have to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just haven't felt like catching up. And I'll probably binge everything before Doomsday, or Secret Wars, one of the two, but I really have not been in a rush to do.
Well, Doomsday comes out before Secret Wars.
Well, yes, I know, but like, I'm just saying because like those are obviously the 2 big finale movies of this era.
Yes.
Of the series.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't really feel like it. But oh well. But getting back to the movie though, yeah, Brand New Day. It was actually genuinely really good.
Yeah, it was.
Like it was like 2 to 3 tiers higher than like all the other movies we've gotten in the last like 4 or 5 years. Like I was actually genuinely surprised at how good it was. Like, not that I haven't liked some of the ones we've gotten, but I liked Guardians 3. I liked Deadpool. 1 or 2 of the other ones were all right.
Mm-hmm.
But a good amount of them kind of just feel like they exist. I don't hate them or anything. Like, I don't hate Thor: Love and Thunder. I know a lot of people hate that movie. I did not hate it.
I didn't hate Love and Thunder either.
Like, but that is a movie that when I think back on it, I'm like, what do I really even like about the movie? Like, I really don't know. It's a movie that kind of came and went. It was fine in the moment. I didn't hate watching it. It was fine. It was serviceable, but that was about it. Like, I think that's been like half the movies for me. Is that they're fine. I don't regret watching them, but like, I could have skipped this one and it wouldn't have mattered that much. Has been like half of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then there have been some ones, like I remember I liked Shang-Chi a decent bit. I think that one's one of the better ones, I would say. Like, I'd give that one's like a solid, at least by like the current, like I give that one maybe like a, I don't know, like a B. Okay, like Brand New Day is an S. Frankly, it's probably an SS. It's like that much. It's that much higher than all the other ones. Like, it by an insane degree. It's kind of hilarious in a way.
Does it match up to No Way Home?
Obviously, No Way Home had more hype.
Yes,
but I do think, and obviously I liked No Way Home. I haven't rewatched it since it came out because I kind of feel like No Way Home is in that endgame situation where you can't really watch it a second time. You can't really. It's not designed for that, right? Like, Endgame and No Way Home are like day one theatrical experiences. That's what they're designed for. You can't really watch them at home and have it be the same. I mean, obviously I've seen all the iconic scenes on YouTube and stuff since then, but I haven't watched either Endgame or No Way Home from start to finish since they came out.
Yeah.
I've only seen them the one time in the theater when they came out, because it's like you can't recreate that experience. Because like all the like I'm in that camp. Like when people talk about like what's better, Infinity War, Endgame, right? Like I am in the camp that thinks Endgame is good. I know that it has its critics. I know people criticize the time travel and various other things, but I think it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, or actually, let me rephrase that. It's a good finale. Because that's what it is. It's not a movie, it's a finale, and there's a difference. Right? Because that's, right? Like, Infinity War is a movie. Like, if you haven't seen any of the other movies, and you just see that one, then, like, you're fine. Mm-hmm. Mostly, right? Like, obviously, having seen the other movies is better, but you can get into it with Infinity War, and then it's fine. You can go back and watch the other ones. Endgame is like, you have to have seen like at least half the movies to get everything out of it. There are so many moments that, like, if you don't know, then you're gonna, like, for example, like Cap lifting the hammer, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a scene that if you don't know why that's a big deal, you're not gonna get all why that's such a big deal. Right? It's not just, hey, look, he's using the hammer that Thor... Like, no. There was build-up.
Yes.
There was build-up. There's a reason. Because
even starting dating all the way back to the first Thor movie.
Like, there's a reason why that moment is such a big deal. Like, it's not just, you know, a cool moment because it's cool. It's cool because there was build-up, and it makes sense for the character, right?
Yes.
Like... So, like, and it's not, and obviously there's a bunch of, and obviously all the time travel stuff, obviously, Battle in New York, that's the first Avengers, they go to Thor the Dark World, they go to Guardians 1, like, obviously there's all that stuff, which obviously you have to have seen the other movies to get all that, but... Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Point is, that's a movie where, like, you have to have seen all the previous ones, basically, to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
And it is a good finale. It's a good finale to the golden era of the MCU. Mm-hmm. As a movie on its own, I think it is worse than both Infinity War and the first Avengers. I'm not sure if it's better than I like Ultron. but it is the low. It's probably like either. I'm not sure if Endgame is higher or lower than Ultron. It's probably higher. But I'm not really sure right now. But I know that Endgame, on its own, in isolation, as a standalone movie, is lower than Infinity War and the first one. But it's not that low in practice because, again, it's not designed to be a standalone movie. It's designed to be essentially the series finale of 10 years. That's its purpose, and it does that very well. It was a pretty good finale, even if as a movie the other ones are mostly better. Getting back to the Brand New Day, though, again, this is the whole thing with No Way Home, right? Like, No Way Home obviously is not some super big finale, but but that was like the big Spider-Man movie, right? Yeah, that was Spider-Man Endgame. It was Spider-Man Endgame. Even though there wasn't like a super built-up story, and it was mostly its own thing, it was Spider-Man Endgame. It was on the level of Endgame in terms of the sheer amount of hype and anticipation and all the stuff. And then, of course, there was the leaked footage of Andrew on the blue screen with the scaffolding and everything, and him and all the interviews saying, "I'm totally not in the movie, you guys. I'm telling you, I'm not in it." As Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal are pointing a sniper rifle at him. But point is, like Endgame, that was an event movie, right? That was an event movie that you see it where, like, if you were not there when it came out, you're not gonna get why that was a big deal, right? And we haven't had one of those movies since. Ironically, we haven't had a movie like that since No Way Home. None of the ones after that point have been even half of the level that movie was in terms of just anticipation and hype. Let alone, obviously, the box office.
Yeah.
But But my point is, I like No Way Home. I like Guardians 3. I like Shang-Chi. I like Thunderbolts. But like a bunch of the other ones, Black Widow exists. Eternals exists.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder exists. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is weird because that movie actually had some hype going into it.
Yeah.
I think that was partially because it was coming off of the back of No Way Home, and because hey, look, it's Patrick Stewart. Hey, look, it's John Krasinski. Hey, look, they're in the movie. But I feel like, generally speaking, people don't like that movie too much. I mean, I thought it was fine, but
yeah, I liked it.
I think I like that one more probably than I like that one more than Black Widow or Eternals or Thor. I like it more than any of those, but it's still, I'm not sure. I probably would prefer the first Doctor Strange to that one now, but let's see, what else was there? What's 2023? Yeah, obviously Guardians 3 was good. Everyone pretty much agrees that one's good, more or less. James doesn't really miss when it comes to those movies. I think the first one is still the best one. Like, the first movie is a really good standalone movie. Like, the first movie has nothing to do with the rest of the MCU. Like, at all. Like, basically at all. Like, okay, I know I said this about, anyone can watch Infinity War and you'll be mostly fine. But, no. Guardians 1 is completely disconnected from everything else. There's, no anything you have to know. You can watch that movie on its own, not watch any of the other ones, not even watch the sequels, and still be like, yeah, that one was pretty good. That was pretty good. Right? And, I would, but yeah, Guardians 1 is really good. Guardians 2, I haven't seen it in a while, and Guardians 3 was good. So, pretty solid trilogy, I would say. Probably the best of the MCU trilogies. Certainly one of the best ones, but anyways, point is, they range from good to they exist. That's been most of them, is the main point I'm trying to get at, right? But Brand New Day is not just good, right? Like, Guardians 3 was good. Well, one of the other ones I mentioned, No Way Home, at least I would say was good, at least at the time. But, Brand New Day, no. Like, Brand New Day is actually properly really, really good. Again, it eclipses even the best of what we have gotten by such a huge amount. It's kind of insane, and it's almost why can't they all be like this? Why can't all of them, or even half of them, be as good as this? If it was, then maybe people would think better of the MCU these days. But it is nice to see that we got a movie that pretty much everyone agrees is actually really, really good. It transcends the MCU itself good.
Yeah.
And also because it's basically a reboot for the series. Again, that's another movie where you haven't seen any of the other Spider-Mans, you haven't seen the other 3. Don't worry, you don't need to have seen basically anything else. You can just watch this on its own, and it'll still be pretty good. Obviously, there's a couple flashbacks to the previous movies, especially No Way Home. They actually have quite a few flashbacks to No Way Home, more than I thought they would have, honestly. But it doesn't really matter. It's totally fine. And again, you don't have to have seen those movies to You really don't have to.
Actually, I might have to disagree on that one.
Okay.
Because apparently I was out with my dad earlier today, and my uncle saw Brand New Day without watching any of the Spider-Man movies, and he wasn't getting a whole bunch of stuff within the movie.
Like what?
For example, he was wondering why nobody knew him, period. They knew Spider-Man, but they didn't know Peter Parker.
Okay, you know what? Okay. That's the one thing. That is the one thing. Okay, you're right there. I was like, oh, you don't really have to. Well, oh yeah, except for the massive thing that happens at the end of No Way Home, where everyone forgets him because of the spell.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That is one thing. But outside of that, there isn't really anything else you need to know. I don't think there is, at least. I think that's the only really major plot point, which does matter, right, throughout the entire movie, the fact that no one remembers him. In particular, MJ doesn't remember him.
Yes.
So that matters. It absolutely matters. So I guess fair enough. But
yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is it's not one of those. Again, it's not like an end game where you have to have seen like half of the movies to get everything.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Heck, you don't even like. All you really have to see is No Way Home. You don't even have to see the first two. Just No Way Home is like enough to understand. Like as long as you know what happens at the end of No Way Home, that's really all you need to know. Like in terms of like at least the minimum, that's all you technically need to know. But yeah, I don't know, man. That was very, very interesting. Just like man, like at the end of that, I was like, man, that was actually really good. I think Honest Trailer said this like in like some video at one point. Like, I think they said this about Joker 2019, where they were like, it's so good that like it stops being a comic book movie and it's almost good enough to be a movie or whatever. Like that's pretty much No Way Home. Like it's not a superhero movie, it's not an MCU movie, it's not a comic book movie. It like transcends like the stereotype of what people expect those movies to be. Like, nah, it's just actually a good movie. Just period, full stop. And again, not that I don't like a bunch of the other ones, but it's just, it really is like 2 or 3 tiers higher. Like, it is easily the best movie we have gotten post Endgame by a landslide. It's crazy how good it is. I also don't think I have a single complaint about the movie. I can't think of a single complaint with it, at least right now. I can't really think of anything. Another thing I wanted to kind of bring up in regards to that is, of course, No Way Home, because it was Spider-Man Endgame, it did really well. It made like almost $2 billion. Yeah. Which is like 1.9 billion, I think, is what No Way Home made, right? And you know, Infinity War was like 2 billion, Endgame was like 2.7, 2.8, right? Famously was, at least for a time, was like, you know, the highest grossing movie of all time. All that stuff. And the fact that a Spider-Man movie got to like an Infinity War level box office is pretty crazy. But you want to know it's even... But at the same time, it's still a little understandable because, again, it was basically an Avengers level movie. Right? Yeah. It was basically a Spider-Man Avengers. Right? So, of course, everyone saw it. Everyone saw it. Right? Because everyone is here. It was the everyone is here of Spider-Man.
All the old Spider-Men are here.
And most of the old villains are here. Even if only like two of them really matter, the story. But still. Well, 3? 2 or 3, I'm not quite sure. You know, the Lizard is kind of just there. And Sandman is kind of also just there. It's mostly like the Green Goblin and it's like the Green Goblin, Electro, and
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock, yeah. They're like the main focus. I think like if you were to say like what is like the main one, it would definitely be Green Goblin, of course. I think he's definitely like the main villain of that movie.
He's just Spider-Man's main villain, period.
Well, yeah, but I just mean like in the movie, he just period is. Yeah. Clearly, obviously. I mean, one, because, I mean, Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe, but also because, like, of what happens in relation, obviously makes him, like, the main antagonist. Yeah. But my point is, you know, that movie did really, really well. Like, you know, Homecoming did, you know, pretty well. You made, like, 800, 900 million, you know, pretty good, you know. Far From Home, a little better. Far From Home, I think, crossed the 1 billion mark, like maybe 1.1 billion. And then No Way Home flew past that and reached like 1.9. Brand New Day, which has been out for like, what, 2 or 3 weeks now, has crossed the 2 billion mark. Despite just being a, quote, normal Spider-Man movie. Some would argue the first real Spider-Man movie we've had since he's been in the MCU. Depending on who you ask, right? The fact that it beat No Way Home with no Toby, no Andrew, no Green Goblin, no Doc Ock is honestly kind of insane. But I think the reason why it did that is, of course, because the word of mouth spread that, like, hey guys, this movie is actually like really, really good. Like, if you haven't liked any of the recent movies, you have to see this one. It's way better than all those other ones. I think that's the reason why it did so well, is because of just how much of a surprise. Like, obviously, it was going to make $1 billion in its sleep, of course, but the fact that it reached $2 billion without being a multiversal Avengers anything was pretty impressive. I think that goes to show like how good that movie really was. Like, it didn't make that money just because it was Spider-Man. It made that money because it was Spider-Man, and it was, like, really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty neat, and I mean, I know, and what's funny is, because obviously, John Watts, right, he directed the previous 3 MCU movies, and then they got Daniel Destin Cretton, I think is his name, like, he's the guy who did Shang-Chi. Which, again, like I said, is one of the better ones of the recent ones. So, I kind of already figured, we'd probably get something decent with him. I mean, again, I've liked all the previous. I think historically, Homecoming has been in my like top 3 MCU movies. The Homecoming, I think, is pretty good. Like, I know some people rag on it because of it's all about Tony Stark or whatever, but like, I don't know, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty solid. Far From Home, I think, is fine. I'd say Far From Home is like the worst of the MCU movies. It's still.
I was actually going to say I do honestly think that Far From Home might be the worst out of the Spider-Man movies that we have, at least the Tom Holland ones.
Yeah, like of the 4, I think it's definitely the worst one.
Yeah,
I think Homecoming's pretty good. I still think it's pretty good. No Way Home, I know, has its critics in retrospect. People have kind of turned on it a little bit. Not everyone, but it's gotten, those kinds of videos, the hour-long essays about how actually this movie is really flawed, and let me tell you why. It took a couple of years for that to happen, but I'd still say most people still consider that a pretty good movie, at least as an experience. Again, like the Endgame thing, where at least in a theater, it was a pretty good experience, So I'd say so that one's still good. And then Brand New Day is definitely the best one of all of them, for sure. Like, it's definitely better than Homecoming.
Yeah.
Definitely better than Homecoming.
I will say that for me, Brand New Day does compete with No Way Home for my favorites between them.
They're 2 very different movies.
I know.
So they're probably the 2 most different Spider-Man movies we've ever gotten. Period. But yeah. And if I were to make an order right now, it'd be Brand New Days at the top, of course, and then I think after that would be Homecoming, No Way Home, and then like 2 or 3 tiers lower than that is probably Far From Home.
Yeah, I actually do. I will say I do like No Way Home better than Homecoming, though.
Okay.
But
I think as a movie overall, Homecoming is better. But in terms of like moments, No Way Home is kind of hard to compete with that, considering the movie that it is.
Yeah.
Although there are some really good iconic moments. Like, there's the moment in Homecoming when like he has to raise against the rubble, and he's like looking at his reflection in like the water.
Yes.
That's like a recreation of like an old like comic scene or whatever. Like, that's a pretty good moment, And again, I think that's a pretty solid movie overall, anyway. But
Mhm.
and also, obviously you can't go wrong with Michael Keaton, right? It's kind of hard to compete with Michael Keaton. He's just too good, That it's kind of hard to compete. Probably the only other one that, at least like certainly for talking about like the modern, the MCU villains, Mysterio is fine. No Way Home doesn't have a new villain, obviously, but obviously all the old.
I did wish they had. Good. I do wish that they had Venom join in, because he was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That I almost wonder if they're even gonna bother doing it. What's funny? So you know how at the end of Homecoming they teased Scorpion and then they proceeded to not follow that up for forever.
Yeah.
Well, we finally got it.
In Brand New Day.
9 years. Took them 9 years, but we finally got to know the definition of insanity. the definition, or whatever the heck, however he says the line, whatever. That's the main thing I know that actor from, is that line. But yeah, so. But it's kind of also like what happened with Guardians, right? Where they tease. What even is his full name? Was it Adam?
Adam Warlock.
Yeah, like they teased him at the end of Guardians 2, and then it took forever. Now, of course, that one was that's a little unfair, because obviously the only reason it took that long is because of the whole James Gunn firing and rehiring thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
If that whole thing didn't happen, the movie would have come out in like 2020 or whatever. Well, okay, it
okay. Don't say 2020.
Okay. In 2017, he probably thought it would have come out in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would have come out in like 2021. So it wouldn't have been as long. But but my point is this: like, obvious, like, okay, did you see Venom 2? Have you seen any of them?
I saw the first one, but I actually did not see Let There Be Carnage.
Okay.
But I've seen portions of it.
First one. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I know everything that happens. I've seen like reviews and stuff of the first movie, so I know everything that happens in it, but I never saw the movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie like properly start to finish. But I did see Let There Be Carnage, and I did see The Last Dance. Because may as well, basically. I'm also one of the 2 people that saw Craven.
Oh.
But I did not see Madam Web.
Oh.
But to be fair, I mean, I really didn't feel like it. I mean, I think they even asked me if I wanted to see that, and I was kind of like, I didn't really say anything. I was kind of like, I'm like this is one, like, obviously, like, the Sony movies are like their own thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, obviously we all know how Madam Web went. Oh yeah, I'm also one of the 5 people that actually saw Morbius.
Oh.
Yeah, the only one I haven't seen, so I haven't seen Venom 1, and I didn't see Madam Web, but I saw all the other ones. All 4 of them. So it's not that many. So what would that be? That'd be Let There Be Carnage, Morbius, The Last Dance, and Craven. So yeah, that's 4. That's 4 out of the 6. And what's funny? When I saw Morbius and I came out of it, I was like, I don't know, it's fine. Like, I didn't think it was like that bad. Same with Craven. I also didn't think Craven was that bad. I thought it was fine. I mean, lower than like the MCU equivalent, but like fine. Like, I didn't think it was that bad. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I have like no expectations for those movies. So when I come out of it and I'm like, that was fine. Like, that's like a win almost. But I don't know. But what was I getting to with all that? And I was talking about the box office, and then somehow I got sidetracked into talking about the long gap between like the Scorpion. I can't remember why I even got into that.
One eternity later.
I'm not sure.
Right. Venom. That was the point I was getting to.
Oh, right, so, Venom.
Right. So So Venom 1 did pretty well. Right. It came out in 2018. So this was this was like the peak. Right. This is peak Marvel, right, is like 2018, pretty much. That was like when the MCU was kind of like, that was really when it was like firing on all cylinders, it felt like. Right, when it was like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
Around that time. Even though, again, I mean, that's when I got into it, at least, so obviously I'm a little biased, but still, that certainly is when it feels like, you know, like the late 2010s was really like when the MCU is like at its peak. Felt like, in terms of relevance, like Phase 3, Civil War, Black Panther, Infinity War, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Homecoming, Ragnarok. You know, I really just feel like that was like peak MCU. Everyone knew all the lines. Everyone was quoting the MCU like crazy. That's another thing, by the way, I've noticed is that like, people don't quote the MCU anymore, or at least they don't quote anything new. Like I still occasionally see like an old quote from like one of the older Avengers or something, but it's like rare. Whereas like 5 or 6 years ago, people were quoting the MCU like crazy. Right? You would see Thanos quotes all over the place.
Yes.
Right? You know, it really is funny how some of those lines have aged extremely well. Like probably the most infamous one, right, is the whole, you know, you could not live with your own failure. So where did that bring you?
Back to me.
That line aged so well. It's kind of funny how well that line aged in multiple ways. But anyway, so yeah, Venom, right? So Venom 1 did fairly well. Apparently, a big reason for that was China, from what I heard. But the point is, it did like 800. You know, it's been, of all the Sony movies, it is by far like the best one in terms of box office. Like it did actually really well, which is probably why they were like, "Hey, let's make all these other spin-off movies that people aren't really asking for," because of Venom 1 doing so well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Venom 2 comes out. But Venom 2 doesn't do as well as the first movie, but it still does okay. It does like 400, 500 million. And I guarantee you the main reason for that was because of when it came out. It came out in October of 2021, right? And everyone went and saw that movie for one reason. They saw that movie so they could see the post-credit scene. That is the whole reason I think half the people that saw that movie. It was the main reason I saw it. It was just because, like, we were all convinced that there's gonna be something at the end that's gonna tie into No Way Home. So everyone saw it just to see the post-credit scene, and there was. Right? You know, he gets, you know, what? Yeah, right. They're at that like island bungalow, whatever. And then out of nowhere, in the hotel room, he gets transported. Like you see, like a weird effect happen, and he gets teleported. And then all of a sudden, on the TV, you see J. Jonah Jameson, and you see Spider-Man and everything. And it's like, oh, he's in the MCU. And then he licks the TV, right?
Yeah.
Right? And you know, it wasn't much, but hey, it was something. It was clearly setting up something. Oh, right. Yeah, the specific scene was, right, he teleported into the MCU at the exact, right at, the end of Far From Home, right, when his identity gets exposed, right? You know, Peter Parker, his identity is the marauding criminal, whatever the heck, you know, he says, right? That's what's playing on the TV, right? Right, it's Peter Parker, yeah, right. So that's during that moment, he gets teleported to the MCU. And then, fast forward a few months when No Way Home comes out, and then they immediately send him back.
I know.
What was the point? What was the point in sending Tom Hardy to the MCU if you're gonna send him back in like 5 minutes? What was the point? Well, of course we know what the point was. The point was we're gonna drop off a little piece of the symbiote, right?
Yeah.
And then it moves on the table. Obviously, that's going to set up something at some point. Spider-Man 5, Spider-Man 6, who knows when. But eventually, we're going to get that. But it really is like they really put Tom Hardy in the MCU just to drop off a piece of the symbiote. Like that, like really, was that really worth it? Was that really worth teleporting him back and forth in in the course of 5 minutes? Is that really worth it? I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll be worth it. We just aren't there yet.
Maybe.
You know, it's kind of like asking, like, yeah, was it really worth it to tease Thanos at the end of the first Avengers? Like, that early on, was it really worth it?
To be fair,
But, I
they
mean,
did use him in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That is true. But it didn't feel like they really started moving it forward until, obviously, at the end of Age of Ultron, right? Fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Right? That's when it's like, okay, now we're, like, really actually kicking it into gear. You know, now we're actually... And then, like, the end of Thor Ragnarok, right?
His ship.
Right. So, obviously, we got there eventually. Oh, man. What? Man, Loki Season 1 in particular is gonna be, like, is aged so poorly. He who remains.
Yeah.
That whole thing is so fun. The end of Quantum Mania with all the freaking Kangs in the stadium.
Just the entirety of Kang existence has aged so poorly.
Thing. That is like the biggest. Like, there's been a lot of fumbles with the MCU post Endgame, but that is the biggest one. The fact that the big bad they scrapped halfway through and had to rush. We were like, okay, we're gonna come up to RDJ with like $200 million to get the Russos to come back, and we press the emergency button. We have to fix this. get everyone that made the movies good. Get them back, or at least that's what it felt like. Like, get the guys that made us $2 billion without blinking. Get those guys back. Get them to fix this. But to be fair, I don't think they would have dropped. Now, to be fair, I know people are kind of mixed on Kang, like when he was actually still a thing that was going to happen. I think it was just a matter of it was just really early, right? I mean, Phase 4 was started in 2021, and they immediately throw us what is technically Kang, obviously variants, all that stuff, but still, we get it. Our first look at him, and it's not really him, so people don't really know how to feel about him at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, people didn't like Quantumania. Just, like, period. People did not like that movie. And that was the first movie where he was actually in it. And because people did not like that movie, and people did not like that he got kind of swamped by Ant-Man, it's like, why should we take this guy seriously if Ant-Man can take him down? like Thanos, he ain't. Right? People are already kind of like mixed on him, but I know people are like, hey, when it actually happens, it'll all work out. And then the whole Jonathan Majors thing happened, and any chance of that working out basically just died in the water when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then they dropped him, they fired him, and then they had to scramble to, even though they had announced Kang Dynasty already, they had to change their plans, and again, they had to bring RDJ back, bring the Russos back, and let's go ahead and, okay, who can we use that'll be a big draw that people actually know and care about? I know, let's do Doctor Doom now that we can use him finally. So we'll get Doctor Doom, we'll bring RDJ back, we'll bring the Russos back, and hope to God that this will all somehow work out in the end. Right? So they're kind of in this weird spot where, like, I mean, Kang Dynasty, that probably would not have worked out as well as people would have liked anyway. But now it's like, okay, well, now you have Doomsday, which has basically no real build-up for the most part. Like, outside, like, obviously there's the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four and whatnot, but for the most part, there's essentially, like, okay, I know I've said this a couple of times, but, like, because of the way that the MCU has panned out over these last few years, like, if you have seen nothing except for, like, No Way Home or whatever, like, if you've only seen, like, the couple of movies that everyone saw, but you didn't see any of the other ones, you really could go into Doomsday and probably not be missing that much. Just because of how much has had to been moved around to make this all work. Like, obviously, I mean, like, okay, Thunderbolts, okay, like, they're going to be in the movie, and Fantastic Four are going to be in the movie, so I guess those are, like, the two main ones you'd probably have to see. Mm-hmm. But obviously, Thor's going to be there. He's been around, obviously, for a long time, you know. Captain America. Oh, yeah, we're going to get Steve Rogers back, and that will be nice.
Yes.
It will be nice, even if they did leave him in a pretty good spot, you know. But it would be nice to have him back, even if it might be a little forced. But whatever, it'll still be nice. And Chris Evans is Chris Evans. He's going to do a good job, so he'll make that work no matter what happens anyway. But but I don't know. Generally speaking, though, like even though there's going to be a bunch of newer characters in it, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to really care if they haven't seen those movies. Like, Shang-Chi's going to be in it. Channing Tatum's going to be in it. But like, I don't know, it kind of feels like, even though, like, obviously, again, kind of like Infinity War, like, it benefits if you've seen the movies, but you don't really need to. Except it's, like, doubly more so just because of, like, people's disinterest and, like, the not as great reception. Now, one thing that will help them, and this is one thing that kind of hurts some of the other movies, is that, like, you have to have probably seen a couple of the movies, like Shang-Chi and Thunderbolts or whatever. But if you haven't seen any of the shows, you're pretty much fine. There's, like, I think you like, the shows are the big one. That's the big impedance, right? The fact that there's, like, 10 plus shows that most people haven't seen. They've probably only seen the first couple of them. Everyone has seen WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. Like, the first couple of ones people saw. And then, like, after that point, it, like, kind of fell off. It kind of felt like people stopped caring as time went on. And also when we got some very infamous ones, like Secret Invasion.
In all honesty, WandaVision really didn't have that good of a start to begin with.
I thought WandaVision was... And now this is obviously me looking back on it in retrospect.
Yeah.
But I thought WandaVision was mostly pretty solid. I would say the only time where I'd say maybe near the end, it's a little iffy, but I think like 2/3 of the series is fairly good. At least looking back at, and I think that's also helped by the fact that this was the start of the new era, right? Was WandaVision, and there was also all those theories at the time, right? People wondering, there was all kinds of possibilities about all kinds of things that could happen in the series or happen as a result of the series, and there was the whole they wasted Evan Peters on Boner or whatever. I think that's probably the biggest gripe people have with the series is like they wasted Evan Peters on Boner. Like we couldn't have actually done anything with that. Couldn't have actually had him. You couldn't have actually brought him back, especially when he's like one of the few things in like the Fox films aside from like Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart that people really like. Like people really like Evan Peters' Quicksilver from those movies, mainly because of like the two scenes, right? The two scenes, which are really good scenes, but like those two scenes in the two movies that he's primarily known for are like really good. Like I haven't seen either of those. I haven't seen any of the Fox movies.
Neither have I.
But I have seen the slow motion sequences many times. Because they're just really good sequences.
Yeah, that's probably the only scene from any of the Fox movies that I've watched. The slow motion.
Right. Yeah, with the music.
Yeah.
Pretty good music. I think pretty good music placement too for both of them. Music works pretty well. Scene. It doesn't feel like it's just tacked on. It's not just a licensed song, right? Like it actually fits. That's not right, because people like to crap on licensed music, but the thing is, licensed music can work. I think those scenes are examples of that, right? Like the music that they chose for those scenes fit those scenes. Like it was clear that like the scenes were basically designed with that music in mind. Like you couldn't have just slapped any other song on there. Like it was clearly designed with that music in mind. Whereas like when people think licensed music, they think of like Take On Me in the first Mario movie, right? They think of stuff like that, right? Just there's no reason for this to be here. It doesn't fit the scene at all, right? They think of that kind of stuff, but like it can be done well, and those scenes prove it. But anyway, but aside from the Evan Peters thing, I thought the series was mostly pretty solid. Falcon Winter Soldier was fine. Loki season 1, I didn't see season 2, but season 1 was, I'd say it was good. Not as good as WandaVision, but still good. And then Hawkeye was fine. And then what? Moon Knight was fine. Ms. Marvel was fine. She-Hulk was not good. I don't think it's the worst thing ever conceived by humanity or anything, but it is definitely the worst MCU, maybe anything, I've seen so far. I can say that, even if I don't think it's like the worst thing ever, like some other people make it out to be. And there are one or two moments. Okay, you want to know what my favorite part of She-Hulk, which is ironically enough some people's least favorite part?
What?
It's the fourth wall break at the end. Because it's a fourth wall break.
Yeah.
A really blatant fourth wall break at that. Like you can't not notice it. It's not subtle at all. It is the most fourth wall breaking thing I've probably ever seen.
Right? I don't know if Deadpool could fourth wall break that hard.
Yeah, actually, yes. That was a bigger fourth wall break than anything I've seen in any of the Deadpool. Okay, actually, no, that's a lie. I said that I haven't seen any of the Fox movies. Mm-hmm. That's a lie. I've seen Deadpool 1 and 2. Those are kind of their own thing anyway. But
yeah, they're their own thing.
They're pretty much their own
thing.
They
referenced the Fox X-Men movies a couple of times, but
I haven't seen any of the proper X-Men movies.
Yeah.
I've only seen, again, the Quicksilver scenes, and I've seen Deadpool 1 and 2. So, at least once. Not in theaters, but, I've seen it. So, yeah. But yeah, that was my favorite part for sure, was just the fourth wall break, because it's a fourth wall break, how blatant it is, and the fact that they had, what was it, it was Kevin.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice this at the time, but he has, a little, cap, a little baseball cap looking thing on the robot, which is really, it's obviously perfect that they put that on there. I don't think I've ever seen him without a baseball cap. I think he's always wearing one. Every single red carpet, every single interview, every single time he's at Comic-Con or D23, he is always wearing a hat. You never see him not wear the hat. I can see why they decided to just make that a part of the character. Because he may as well be a part of his body at that point. Which apparently was something that was not even approved or something. I don't know. I remember hearing that apparently that was something that the team just did without getting approval for it, or something that. Feige himself did not actually sign off on that, but they just did it anyway. I'm glad that they did, because I thought that was a neat touch. But yeah, but aside from that, and I mean, hey, we had Daredevil in it.
Yes.
That was nice, And I haven't seen the Netflix show. I haven't seen that, still haven't. I probably need to get around to it one of these days, but certainly before I watch, if I ever get around to watching the new series, but yeah, I don't know. It was nice that we had him in it, and I liked that fourth wall scene at the end, but everything aside from that, yeah, it ranged from okay to, I really want to skip past this. And that's something I've never done before, is wanting to actively skip past sections. That's when you know I'm really not having a good time. And sure, there are the scenes that you can tell they clearly did on purpose, right? Obviously there's the shaking, the twerking scene, right?
Yes.
Everyone's but that was something that I think they've even said was basically done because they knew people would be mad at it. And I mean, they were right.
Yes. I did not like that.
I did not like that either, but you know what? Whatever, it's one scene. But even outside of that, I mean, the show, even at its best, is still
mid.
No.
Not even mid.
It's lower than that. No. Here's the thing, right? I have not used that word to describe anything so far, and that's because when I think of because when people say mid, even though on paper that's supposed to mean okay, it doesn't really mean that in practice. When people say mid, that's basically them saying bad without saying bad. That's at least how I feel. I feel like when people say that, that's what they really mean. It's a less harsh way of saying bad. When they say, oh, it was mid, that's their way of saying it was bad without saying it was bad. But I don't think any of the stuff we've gotten has been bad per se.
Except for
The only
She-Hulk.
one, except for She-Hulk, I would say that one was bad. At least for me, it was. But but the bottom floor is just like, it's fine. It exists. It's like a passable 6 out of 10 or whatever the hell you want to categorize it at. I don't know. It's fine. I didn't regret watching it. She-Hulk was a show I regretted watching. After having already not watched it for like months after it came out. That was a show, by the end I was like, yeah, I should have skipped that one. There's also one other show that was not as bad as She-Hulk, but I can see why everyone also hates it. Secret Invasion.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that one I actually did see.
Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of the Marvel shows.
Now, that one, I said it took me like 3 months to watch She-Hulk.
Yeah.
It took me a year to watch Secret Invasion.
Oh, God.
And that was because of how bad, like, it was received arguably worse than She-Hulk, depending on how you look at it. They're kind of in contention for, like, was considered the worst MCU show. But I would actually wager that people liked Secret Invasion worse. Because Secret Invasion has a character that people love that they fumble. She-Hulk does not have that. She-Hulk does not have a long-standing iconic character that they fumble. And for what it's worth, in She-Hulk, none of my issues with She-Hulk are really She-Hulk herself for the most part. Like, it's not really her or, like, her actress at all. I think she does a fine job. I only bring that up because I know people like to rag on Brie Larson. But, I don't know. I thought, like, the performance... Like, I mean, Brie Larson, admittedly, the first Captain Marvel, I know people categorized her as, like, she was kind of a wooden board in that movie. And to be fair, she is. But I do think she improves as the series goes on. Like, the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, I think she's better in. I think she's better in the few scenes she's in Endgame. I think she's better... I think she is the best in, well, the Marvel. It's the last thing she was in so far.
Yeah.
So she has gotten
Well,
better.
Marvel thing. You should probably say Marvel thing.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I haven't seen anything else she's been in.
Not even the Super Mario Galaxy movie?
Okay, well, aside from that. But to be fair, she's barely in that movie, so...
Yes.
And also, she's totally fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing, she's totally fine. But my point is, like, as far as Captain Marvel is concerned, her performance gets better with every movie she appears in. So even her, I don't really mind anymore. I mean, I never hated her or anything, but, like, yeah, I don't know, she's, like, kind of fine, I guess. But anyways, my point is, like, you know, She-Hulk, the character, and, like, you know, the performance is mostly fine. It's like everything surrounding She-Hulk and just kind of the storyline is what I don't like. You know, and as well as just various moments that feel very on the nose and whatnot. It's just kind of, yeah. Now, that one just did not work. But here's the thing that I will acknowledge. I don't think it's the worst thing ever made, but I also do not like it. I do think it is the worst thing I've seen in the MCU so far, and I don't think any of the stuff I've missed is going to be as bad as that. But it has its fans. I know She-Hulk has its fans. Secret Invasion does not. There are no Secret Invasion defenders out there. There's not a group of people that are like, you know, I actually liked that one, even though everyone else didn't. No. The best you will hear about Secret Invasion is that they were like, is that it was whatever. That's like the best thing you'll hear about it. And most people think it's pretty bad. Now, as someone that did watch it, when I was watching it initially, I didn't mind it all that much. The first few episodes I thought were mostly fine. The later the series went, and especially in retrospect, after I had finished it and I started thinking about it in retrospect, I started to realize, oh yeah, I see why people hate this show. I mean, they kill off Maria Hill. You know, Sam Jackson doesn't get to do anything cool, really. which is like the main reason why people wanted the show in the first place was because they like, you know what people wanted out of that show?
What?
You know that scene in the Winter Soldier where he's escaping in the car?
Yeah.
They wanted that. That was what people wanted. They wanted that as a series. They wanted that Nick Fury. But that's what they wanted, and we didn't get that. We didn't get that at all, pretty much. I can't really think of any particularly notable moments, like any like cool moments he gets in the series. I can't think of a single one. Maybe there's something in there, but I can't remember it. Then there's the whole, like, the way it ends, and there's the infamous shot with, like, I don't even remember what her name is, but, like, you know, the final boss, basically, and she has, like, that transformation effect, and there's the Drax arm, the famous meme. It's, like, basically the poster child for that whole series, is the Drax arm, and that final battle. That doesn't even have Nick Fury in it, by the way. At least I don't remember it having it. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, and also, by the way, that was when they revealed that, oh yeah, by the way, Rhodey, he's been, like, in a capsule since, like, Civil War or something. So, like, the Rhodey we saw in Infinity War and Endgame or whatever, it was not actually Rhodey, it was like a scroll or something.
Yeah, it was a scroll.
It's just like all that stuff combined, it's just like people just hated that series. For like, they didn't like it because they thought Sam Jackson got done dirty. They didn't like it because of the Rhodey implications. They didn't like it because of the final battle, basically. They didn't like it because they kill off Maria Hill. They didn't like it because of basically all of the big things that happen in it. Which is funny because beforehand, I remember they were like, Marvel was talking about how, you know, this is gonna be like a big event. This is gonna be like, you know, I don't think they literally said this, but this is gonna be like okay, you know how like Civil War, it's not an Avengers movie, but it basically is.
Yeah.
That they basically were acting like that was what Secret Invasion was gonna be. It was going to be this big pivotal part of the story that, while it wasn't an Avengers level thing, it was going to be close. It was going to be at least like a Civil War type thing where it's like, you know, Civil War may as well be Avengers 2.5. Because that's basically what it is. It's not really a Captain America movie. I mean, no. it kind of is, but it's really not.
Yeah, it mostly focuses on him, but all the Avengers just have almost the same amount of screen time.
Yeah, and obviously the whole focus is between the teams splitting apart, you know. So it really is, it's basically an Avengers movie in all of it. Heck, depending on who you ask, it's more of an Avengers movie than Age of Ultron is. But anyway, yeah, Secret Invasion was supposed to be a big deal, and not only was it not a big deal, like, you could have skipped that like, all the things that happen in that series are probably never going to come up again, so if you didn't watch it, it doesn't really matter. But not only is it, like, a skippable series, but the series itself just was not good. You know? I would probably say, I personally liked She-Hulk less, but in terms of, like, wasted potential, Secret Invasion definitely has that. Just from, like, you know, like, if they said, oh yeah, by the way, Secret Invasion is not canon, no one would complain. No one would complain if they just said it wasn't canon. We're not gonna do that. But, like, that's a show where, you know, they can make it not canon and people would be 100% on board.
But they're still probably gonna make it canon.
Well, I mean, it's canon until they say it isn't, basically. But that was a pretty jumbled conversation of me just going from whatever I feel like. But I don't know. Well, that whole thing started with me just being like, "Oh yeah, Brand New Day was pretty good." I didn't really expect that to spiral too far out of that. But I guess my main point, here's the main final point about the Marvel side of things before I move on to other stuff, is, you know, Doomsday, this is a video I've been wanting to do for a bit, and I'm running out of time to do it, but I need to get around to it at some point, is basically what I'm going to call the near impossible task of Doomsday / Secret Wars. Which essentially boils down to, like, people are not invested in the characters, so you're going to have a harder time getting people excited for the movie on its own merits. right? Because I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest problem that Doomsday has, is that because of how mixed at best, it feels like the MC reputation has been over the last 4 or 5 years. People are not really invested in the characters, right? Especially the ones that we haven't seen in forever. Like Shang-Chi was supposed to be like one of the main new characters, and we've only seen him once. 5 years ago. We haven't seen him since. He's just gonna show up in Doomsday after not seeing him for 5 years, right? And then again, obviously anything from the TV shows is going to be hard because people are not super thrilled with most of the shows, and even the ones that are, what if you haven't seen it? Like there's a lot of that you have to deal with, and then also just the fact that the movie feels to a lot of people like it's very transparent in what it's trying to do, right? Like, we brought back the Russos, we brought back RDJ because we need a success. We need a guaranteed success, right? After we kind of fumbled the bag these last few years, outside of a couple of exceptions. And because it feels so transparent, that makes people more cynical of the movie. Like, that they think that it's just going to be, like, a bunch of cameos and whatever. It's just going to be cameos and, like, forced writing to make us care about this character that we're only being introduced at the very end of the saga, basically, with no build-up, right?
Yeah.
Because we had to scrap the last one halfway through. So it really is this impossible task. But for what it's worth, I trust the Russos, I trust RDJ, I even trust the writers to an extent. The writers are not the same writers as the last couple ones, I think. I forget who the writers are. I know one of them, I think, worked on, like, Multiverse of Madness, but the other one... Actually, I think one of them is the Multiverse of Madness writer, and then the other one is, like, one of the, like, Infinity War Endgame writers, but not both of them. Just one of them. I don't know. Point is, I'm sure we're gonna get something that is enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we're all gonna like it, at least coming out of the theater. We're gonna be like, yeah, I like that. I'm sure RDJ will do a good job. He always does a good job. And the couple of lines we've heard in the trailer is like, he sounds good.
He put an accent.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, people are worried that it was going to be, like, it's just going to be Tony Stark in, like, a Doom outfit. And it's like, no, it's not. He is properly a different character, at least so far. I know that's the big cynical thing that people have been predicting for years, is that, oh, watch, they're going to be like, haha, actually... the MCU Doctor Doom isn't really the MCU Doctor Doom. He's a multiverse variant of Tony Stark that went bad or something. That's what people are worried is going to happen.
Well, actually, I don't think that's going to happen because he's actually responding to the name Victor.
Yeah, there's a bunch of reasons I've seen given for why they won't do that, and for what it's worth, I don't think they're going to do that either.
Yeah,
I think that would be way too blatant. Way too transparent to just have him be multiversal Tony Stark, which nobody wants. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
But I
think they're actually having him respond as Victor Von Doom.
The main reason why I've heard for why they would do that is because, well, why would they pay RDJ like $1 billion to come back and not show his face? Right? What's even the point? If he's not going to sound like RDJ, and and you can't see his face, then he could be anyone.
Yeah.
So, why bother paying all that money just to get him back? What, just for the brand recognition? Just so you can have him in the marketing and have him on the posters or whatever? I don't know. It's just so it's like they must show his face. Therefore, he must be a multiversal variant of Tony Stark somehow. And that's where the meme line of I hate you 3000 came from. Spider-Man's not going to be in Doomsday. but like I don't know. But he's.
I could
but,
see him
like,
being in
maybe,
Secret Wars, though.
Yeah. And people like the meme is that it's like Mr. Stark, is that you? And then it's like yeah, I hate you 3000 or whatever or something. I don't know, some dumb meme. Whatever. Point is, I will say that's a little weird, by the way, the fact that he's not going to be in Doomsday. And I say he will not be in Doomsday because if he was, we would have known by now. Because at the end of Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, we got, Blank will return in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah. And what we get for Spider-Man? Spider-Man will return.
Yeah, but no in Avengers Doomsday, so he's not in it. If he was going to be in it, they would have said so. And no, he's not going to show up at the end out of nowhere. No, he's not in the movie. And that's fine. He doesn't need to be in the movie, because he's going to be in the next one.
Yeah,
along
Secret
with
Wars.
Toby and Andrew, and maybe even animated Miles Morales. They might even throw the whole kitchen sink in. Who knows? We'll see.
They bring Drake Bell back as his version of Spider-Man.
Maybe they'll suck Michael Keaton out of the Sony universe and bring him back. That's another thing, by the way. That's so dumb. The fact that that Sony put him in, right? Hey, Morbius, we gotta form a team. Or whatever, that scene at the end. And then, of course, that's not gonna happen. Right?
Yeah.
And now he's just stuck in the... at least with Tom Hardy, they brought him to the MCU and then they brought him back. But, Michael Keaton is still in the Sony universe. A universe that is now dead, by the way. Literally, the other day, Tom Rothman, who's, one of the higher-ups at Sony Pictures, he basically said, yeah, we're not doing any more live action, any of the... that universe, we're not doing that. Any more of those. I mean, the last one that came out was Kraven, and that was, a year and a half ago. That's probably already telling that the universe was dead. But we did have Spider-Noir, which I haven't seen. But I want to say the little I've heard about it has been good for what it's worth. But I don't know, maybe that might be one I watch, especially because that one is obviously a completely standalone thing anyway. Although I do find it weird that they have a color version of it. You're going to watch Spider-Noir in color. That
is weird.
I don't know what. What did they think people? Black and white. Really? You're telling me people wouldn't watch a black and white movie? Okay, maybe some people wouldn't watch a black and white movie, but come on. Now I've never seen a black and white movie. Not really. I've seen clips, but I've never actually watched a black and white movie from start to finish. I think. Actually, wait a second.
Unless you want to count Wizard of Oz.
Okay, but that doesn't count. Only 15 minutes of that movie is black and white. It's not even really black and white. It's sepia tone, I think. So it's not even really black and white, which is funny because the famous... Well, I say famous, but if you've ever seen those, you're watching blank on NBC or something, the following program is presented in living color on NBC, the old, peacock logo with the little jingle. There's a version of that for the Wizard of Oz where it says at the very end, it only starts in black and white. And that's technically wrong because it's not black and white, it's sepia. Now, I haven't seen the movie in years, admittedly, but I'm pretty sure the beginning of the movie is not really black and white, it's sepia tone, or at least it's closer to sepia tone than just a straight black and white. But whatever, I'm being picky. Point is, watching, but Noir is known for being black and white. That's its whole thing, is that it's black and white. Well, it's not the whole thing, but you get rid of the black and white and it's not noir anymore, so why the hell would you have a color version of it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the black and white version is there, and I want to say it seems like the black and white version is kind of the default one, which makes sense, but it's just weird that they have... It's just weird that they have the color one at all.
Yeah, and if you even think about it, the Spider-Noir we got in Into the Spider-Verse always stayed in black and white.
Yeah, that's also true. So it breaks with that. Now, I know that even though it's Nicolas Cage in both, I know it's not the same version apparently. Which is weird, by the way. Why wouldn't it be the same version? That'd be like if when they brought back Toby and Andrew, they were like an alternate Toby and Andrew as opposed to the Toby and Andrew from those universes. Like what's the point? If you're gonna bring the actor back, then it needs to be the one.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Now, I know we've technically gotten some exceptions to that. Like, what's one where they did that? Well, I mean, Evan Peters, I guess, is one, right?
Yeah.
That obviously was not the Fox Evan Peters.
No.
So that was, even though everyone was hoping that's what that was going to be, but... so that's like maybe like one of the few exceptions. Oh, I just realized something. So, okay. Did you see the Marvels?
Yes.
Were you one of the 2 people that saw that movie?
Yes.
Yes, all 5 of us that watched that movie as it crashed and bombed at the box office. and not in like the online, like, oh, it crashed and burned, but it didn't actually crash and burn, it just underperformed. No. That movie actually flopped. Like, it made like $200 million or whatever. It is terrible MCU movie. None of them have been that low, which is funny because I think it is better than the first one. The first one that made $1 billion. But to be fair, the first movie did not make $1 billion because people liked the movie. It made $1 billion because it released 1 month before Endgame. So everyone saw it because, well, Captain Marvel's going to be an Endgame, and this is the movie right before Endgame, so we're all gonna see it. And, you know, again, I don't think that movie is as bad as other people make it out to be, but it's not great. But anyway, what's my point with that? I guess my original point was that, yeah, it's just weird that, like, we'll have Nick Cage in Spider-Verse, we'll have Nick Cage in this, but it won't be the same version, even though it totally should be. At least as far... Now, maybe that changed, but at least from what I remember hearing, like, years ago, at least, that, like, it was supposed to not be... It was supposed to be a different version of him, for some reason. But, yeah. Actually, speaking of Spider-Verse, so the very end of Brand New Day, right? The post-credit scenes where it, like, flies off into space. What do you think that is?
I'm probably gonna say that it's probably an alternate Spider-Man from like a different universe. But
is it one that we already know, or is it one we don't?
I want to say that I think it might be either Tobey's Spider-Man or a Miles Morales version, because I think they do plan on bringing Miles Morales in, but I don't know when. And Tom Holland even went out saying he is open to teaching a version of Miles Morales.
You wanna know what's funny? So you know that scene, right, when he's like in that little like cocoon on like top of the building? And then he falls down.
Yeah.
And then there's like that guy that's like, "Hey man, are you okay?"
Yeah.
I legitimately for a couple of seconds was like, is that Miles? I'm totally guilty of being one of those people.
No. What I've heard is when he saves that kid and he taps the kid on the bike and he taps his head on and he taps his helmet. A lot of people are saying that is Miles.
I don't remember that. I don't really remember what scene you're talking about there.
When with the tank chase scene, he saves a kid on a bike. God damn it! And taps his helmet. A lot of people are saying that is Miles Morales.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't really remember. I mean, I remember. Okay, now that you point that out, I think I do remember that. But I think the main reason why I was wondering if that guy, it was specifically because of the way he delivered his line. Like, it didn't sound like random background NPC. It sounded like this is an actual character in the way he spoke, for lack of a better term. That's why for a split second I was like, I mean, I knew it wasn't actually actually going to be in it. And even if it was, they were never going to say anything, obviously.
But then again, wasn't Jean Grey controlling that character?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying briefly, for a brief, maybe couple seconds or maybe whatever, however long it lasted, I was like, there's no way it is, but is that? And then, of course, it's revealed that, it's just some random guy, and it's just, Jean Grey controlling everyone. But for a split second, just because of the way of his delivery and the fact that he seemed a little more prominent, it felt like maybe this is an actual character we're supposed to pay attention to. Maybe and then, of course, and it's just like my mind's just like, well, not. And for what it's worth, I'm not the only one that thought that. There were people I saw after the fact. There were people out there that also thought that for a brief second that might have been him. It obviously wasn't, but for a brief second I thought maybe. But anyway, getting back to the post-credit scene though is if I were to make a guess right now, I mean, probably Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That's the one that makes the most sense to me. I don't think it's Toby or Andrew. I think it's Spider-Verse. If it's going to be anything that we already know, then it will be Spider-Verse. But obviously, if that were to happen, it would probably only happen after the events of the next movie when it finally comes out after forever. Remember when that movie was supposed to come out in March of 2024? And it was supposed to be Infinity War to Endgame style, basically. And then it just kept getting back and back and back, and now it's March 2027 that it will supposedly come out. Now, to be fair, I think it will actually come out then because they've started to do more promotional stuff for it. So that it probably is actually finally coming out. But man, that movie took crazy it is. Part 1 came out in 2018, which I did see in the theater. That was actually the very first Marvel movie in general I had seen in the theater. Was that one? Was the first Spider-Verse. And obviously I saw Across when that came out. But that was 2018. Across was 2023, and then this is 2027. That is almost a decade. There's almost a decade in between, for a trilogy that was supposed to be finished 3 or 4 years ago. Well, probably 2 years ago. It will have been 3 by the time it comes out. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that movie is more complex than your average, MCU film in particular. Obviously, they got a lot of crazy animation going on in that series, so I guess that takes time. And animated movies in general just take a long time to make anyway. But I don't know. It really feels because my impression is that when Across came out, that Beyond was almost done, right? That it was probably mostly just polishing, whatever. The movie was basically done. From an animation perspective, it was mostly done at that point. Now I'm starting to think that wasn't the case at all. Now I'm starting to think they probably only had maybe the first 20 minutes of the movie done at that point. But for some reason they thought that we could shift into maximum overdrive and we could somehow cram the rest of the movie together in 6 months. And that obviously did not happen. Not that would have been a good thing for them to do anyway, but still, it really makes me wonder who at Sony thought that March 2024 date was feasible, because it clearly wasn't. I know there was the whole writer's strike thing that happened around that time too that didn't help, but even outside of that, there's no reason for the movie to have taken this long. And the thing is, the movie taking this long would not have been a problem if they didn't have that previous release date. If they had just said, oh yeah, the next movie is going to be coming, in a couple years or whatever, then people wouldn't be annoyed. But because they told us 2024 and it's 2026 and it's still not out, that's why everyone's annoyed.
Everyone, including you?
I mean, I'm not super annoyed, but it is annoying.
Because the tone in your voice made it seem like you were annoyed.
I mean, I'm not like super annoyed or anything, but it is like dumb. But it's not. It hasn't been. It just really feels like Sony gave them an unrealistic release date, and they just were not at all at that point, or like there was some massive delay that happened for some behind-the-scenes reason. I don't know. Something clearly happened with that, but I'm sure it'll be worth it because the first two movies are really good. This one's going to be really good. They'll make a pretty good trilogy, maybe even the best Spider-Man trilogy, possibly. Probably a lot of people will consider it. I mean, assuming they don't fumble the bag, which I doubt they will. I really doubt. I'm sure it's going to be just as good as the other two. You know, first movie. I've only seen the first movie once, but the first movie was as good as everyone says it is. It is really good. It's considered by many people to be one of, if not the best one. It's like up there with Spider-Man 2 and a lot of people's like favorite movies, Spider-Man movies. The second movie was also pretty good, but the second movie isn't really a movie because it's not. It's part one, right? It's part one, and right, like, and not like Infinity War. Like again, Infinity War and Endgame are parts 1 and 2, and that's what they were designed to be originally, before they became a little more separated. But they're still clearly 1 and 2. But like I said earlier, Infinity War, even though it's part 1 of 2, it still mostly stands on its own. Endgame doesn't, but Infinity War does. Across the Spider-Verse is kind of in this weird scenario where I think the movie generally holds up fine on its own, but you can't. But we need to know how it ends before I can really judge it fully. Because it, even more so than Infinity War, is a part 1 of 2. It literally ends on a cliffhanger. Like, maybe even more blatantly than Infinity War does, arguably, although... I mean, Infinity War is a pretty big cliffhanger, too, to be fair, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. But when I say cliffhanger, I mean, like, the movie stops, right? Like, Infinity War doesn't stop, it ends. If you get what I mean. Like,
yeah.
Infinity War is a movie that has a cliffhanger, but it does end. It feels like an end of a movie. Across is not that. Across is part 1, is like half a movie that just stops, right?
Yeah.
Like the next movie is clearly going to start exactly where we left off. There's not going to be a 5-year time skip or anything, right? It's going to just be right where we left off. You could easily, like, you know what it would be like? You want to know what the best comparison I can think of is? It is literally Back to the Future, right? Right? Back to the Future 1. Right, great movie. Back to the Future trilogy is my favorite movie series of all time, in fact. First movie is obviously classic, obviously, and it stands on its own, right? Yes, it sets up a sequel, just like how Spider-Verse 1 also sets up a sequel, but it doesn't set it up super blatant, right? Like, it's more of a, hey, we can come back to this if we want to, but if we just left it as is, it'd be fine, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of just they're going off to another adventure, but it's not an adventure that necessarily we have to see. Because that's the whole thing with Back to the Future, right? Is, you know, the end of Back to the Future wasn't meant to be anything. It was just supposed to be like they're running off to another adventure, and that was just it. You know, it wasn't meant to be what it ended up becoming. Now they eventually made it into something where they literally pick up like you could easily stick all 3 of those movies together into one like 6-hour movie or whatever. You could easily do that. Like, because the movies literally take place exactly right after each other. You could easily stitch them together.
Yeah.
The only part that would be awkward would be like for Back to the Future 1 and 2, like, do you use like for the scene of, you know, Marty with the garage and Doc coming in and clash, you know, the whole Marty, we gotta do something about, you know, that whole scene, right? Like, do you pick the Back to the 1 version or the Back to the Future 2 version to use? Because they're not the same.
No.
I thought they were, but no. When they did Back to the Future 2, they reshot that entire ending sequence, right? And they have, you know, the new actress for Jennifer, right?
Yeah.
So it is not the same. Also, the line delivery is clearly different. Like, if you hear, like, all of Doc's lines, they sound pretty similar, except for, like, one section where you can clearly tell, oh, yeah, no, this is a different take, or this is a different session. This is clearly not... And I find it weird that they did that. Like, why not just reuse the footage from the end of the first movie? and then just go from there. Like, it's weird that they felt the need to reshoot the entire sequence. Now, shot for shot, if you didn't know any better, you probably wouldn't have noticed. But it is weird that they decided to do that. But my point is, like, and what's funny is that whole thing of why not just reuse the footage from the previous movie? Well, they do that for Back to the Future 2 to 3, I think. Right, when Marty comes back, I'm back from the future, right? I'm pretty sure that is literally just the same footage from 2. They didn't reshoot that one like they did for 1. But that makes sense though, because 2 and 3 were shot back to back.
Yeah.
And they were released like within 6 months of each other. Again, another similarity. You noticing the similarities here?
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities between that trilogy and this trilogy. There really is. Like you could stitch all the movies together, but the first movie was designed to be its own thing first and foremost, but it ended up becoming a part of a 3-parter later where you could use, and again, the fact that, Across the Spider-Verse, right? It started as 1 and 2. Like I remember when they first announced him, we got that first teaser trailer of him like flying through like that Indian world. Like the trailer was Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. And then they dropped the Part 1, and then they just called it Across the Spider-Verse, and then they made Part 2 Beyond. But it's still Part 2. Obviously.
Yeah.
And again, like the Back to the Futures did, like it's definitely going to be, we're going to pick up, the movie is going to start with that scene of the other Miguel. I got Miguel on the brain because of that Kingdom Hearts trailer. We haven't even gotten to that yet, but whatever. But yeah, the other Miles, whatever. It's going to pick up right where it left off again. You could easily stitch all 3 of those movies together, and it would fit just fine as like one singular thing perfectly, basically. But my point is, once we get Beyond, then I'll be able to judge Across more properly, because now I will have seen the full picture. But even as it stands, I think Across is still pretty good. But I think the first movie is still better, but that's mainly because the first movie stands on its own more. Again, like Into the Spider-Verse, if there was never any sequels, it'd be totally fine. If Beyond never came out, that would make Across worse. Because Across is not a fully standalone movie. It is 1 of 2. So if you get rid of 2, it makes 1 worse. So, yeah. But okay, that's a lot of, that was a lot more talk about that stuff than I really intended, and there's still a bunch of other stuff I have to get to. But I don't know. I guess the main last thing I can really say, the last little bit was basically like me saying, that post-credit scene is like probably Spider-Verse related, but it's probably going to be something that happens after the events of Beyond. Like the post-credit scene of Beyond might be, might tie in the same way that Venom 2 tied into No Way Home, kinda. Because as far as I know, there's nothing that stops them from doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they were able to do it before, and Sony, for better or worse, owns the rights to anything Spider-Man movie-related, period, whether they make it or not. So there's nothing stopping them from tying it into the MCU, because clearly they were allowed to, they could tie in Venom to the MCU for like 5 minutes, even if Marvel probably wanted nothing to do with it. I don't know, I can't imagine that Feige was probably thrilled about Tom Hardy being in the MCU. What if it was like, hey, okay, you could put him in the MCU, but you have to send him back like immediately. I don't know. It's probably not. I'm sure he probably actually doesn't. But it's just, that's kind of like the way I know people back in the day were like, oh man, it feels like, but that's the leverage Sony has. We own the movies, we own the movie rights, so we get to put our characters in the MCU movies, even if we don't own the MCU. Which is why they were able to take an MCU character in Vulture, and they were able to drag him into Morbius. Remember when the Morbius trailers were supposed to be a lot more like involved, and then the movie was nothing like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mean, you probably didn't see the movie, but like, do you remember like that first trailer for Morbius?
Yeah.
Where it had like it had like the spite, it had like the Raimi suit or
Mhm.
whatever, like the Spider-Man Raimi suit from like the PS4 game in the background, and there was all and, like it was all these allusions to the end of Far From Home, but then obviously they had Michael Keaton in the trailer, and it was like that made people a lot more interested in the movie because it's like, oh, this is gonna tie in to like Far From Home and like the actual Spider-Man stuff. But then the actual movie doesn't do that at all. Right? Like all of those like Daily Bugle and Spider-Man Far From Home references are all completely gone. And the only reference to the MCU at all is Vulture,
Mhm.
who only shows up at the very end for a now meme-worthy scene about how, you know, man, we're all pretty, you know, there's 6 of us, you know, we're pretty sinister guys. I know. Wait, I got it. You know, we're you know, it's like the Fantastic Four meme, right? You know, it's pretty fantastic.
Mhm.
You know, it's like that meme, but it was for like the Sinister Six, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we're some pretty evil guys. You know, we should make a. You know, we're some pretty sinister guys. You know, we should form a group. You know, with 6 of us. very much. That wasn't literally what he said, but that's basically what it was. It's pretty much what it was, you know? And yeah. My guess is it's Spider-Verse for that post-credit scene. If it's anything that we already know, it's that. It's not Toby, it's not Andrew. They'll save them for Secret Wars. And I think they will. You want to know what's funny? I've seen people talk about Toby being in Doomsday. And I'm like, Tom isn't in Doomsday. Why the hell would Toby be in it? That makes no sense. Like, that would actually make no sense at all. Also, you can't have Toby and then not have Andrew. That's another thing, too. Is they're kind of like, yeah, you can't have one without the other.
Mhm.
So that also doesn't... Like, it's basically an all or nothing. It's like, you have one of them, you have to have all of them. At least for something like that. And I definitely think we're going to get Toby and Andrew again. I absolutely believe that. I don't think it's going to be Doomsday, though, because again, we don't even have Tom in it. If they're going to be in anything, it'll be in Secret Wars, because that's the movie when like we can get our big, you know, Portals moment where everyone shows up from everything. It won't be the same, but we're going to get it. Man, that's another thing that's going to be really hard from the top, is that the Portals moment is, like, basically perfect.
Mhm.
Not just the moment, but the music, too. You cannot... That scene would not be the same without the music. By the way, that's another thing that's really funny, too. That's another kind of funny coincidence, right? Alan Silvestri, who, of course, he's done a bunch of movies, but he's probably most well-known for Back to the Future. Right? He's Back to the Future. He's done all of the Avengers movies except for Ultron. And he's going to be doing Doomsday and Secret Wars, which is great. It wouldn't be an Avengers movie without him. But that Portals scene is probably his best musical cue he's done since, like, the Avengers theme itself.
Mhm.
Right? The Avengers theme is pretty iconic. It's probably the most iconic... Well, it is the most iconic theme in the entire MCU. For sure.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone knows it. But I think there are a couple other... Like, I know... Like, I'll say this. Most of the MCU soundtracks are kind of just there. But sometimes, I think the Ant-Man theme is really good.
Mm.
You know? I think that's a really good theme. I wish we heard it more often, honestly. I don't think they played it once in Quantumania.
Mm.
I don't remember them playing it. I thought that was a shame, because I really like the Ant-Man theme. I think it fits in really well. It's also very memorable, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Same with Doctor Strange. I think the Doctor Strange theme is pretty good. Not as good as the Ant-Man theme, but still pretty good and also memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you know, I don't like it as much as, like, you know, obviously it's hard to beat Toby's theme.
Yeah.
You know, even as someone that has never seen those movies and didn't grow up with them, that theme is obviously like it's the one. You're not going to top it. But I like the MCU Spider-Man theme, and they've used it in every movie, including they even used it in Brand New Day. Not that much. I noticed that, by the way, that like Brand New Day only used the theme maybe like once or twice, whereas in like the other movies they play it like every other scene. Like any time he's swinging around, it's do 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 do.
Yeah.
Do, do. Every time he's like doing like anything as Spider-Man half the time in like the other movies, they always play the theme. But in Brand New Day, they only play it like once or twice, and it's fairly subtle. That's fine. but it's just kind of funny how like they really de-emphasized the theme in Brand New Day. I mean, it didn't need it, obviously, but it's kind of weird. When the other movies, even obviously the Raimi movies, of course, have their iconic theme, but I feel like even like I haven't seen either of the TASMs, but I don't know. I kind of get the impression that the themes in those movies are more prominent than the ones in Brand New Day were. Toby's not going to be in Doomsday. Please. Even if he was to be in it, what would be the only way I could see him, or at least something related to him being in it, would be like if Doom like teleported to another universe, and then they go to that universe, and then it's like, and then all of a sudden we see, hey, look, that's the Daily Bugle, but it's not like the MCU Daily Bugle, it's the Raimi Daily Bugle. Then all of a sudden, we see him because of that. That's the only reason I could see for him to be in it. Is if they go to like the Raimi-verse. But there's no reason for them to do that. And again, Tom isn't going to be in the... That should immediately kill it in the water, just the fact that Tom's not in it. It would make no sense. If anything, it would make more sense for Venom to be in it. It would make more sense for that, since... Yeah, okay. I think that's enough of that for now. I move on to what is what was supposed to be kind of the main topic. So the main reason, the thing I was going to get to when I was talking about Brand New Day, the last thing I was going to bring up was that right before, I didn't see it when it first came out. Normally I end up seeing those movies like within a couple, like either like not normally the day of, but like maybe like the day or two after, which most of the time is fine. It's really only with like the really big ones where, like No Way Home was like, we have to see No Way Home like practically the second it comes out, because if we don't, we're gonna get spoiled like crazy. And I don't think we saw it day one, but we saw it like the day after. So I only had to avoid spoilers for a day, thankfully. And I'm sure with Doomsday, they're gonna try and get, that nailed down, hopefully the day of. Ideally. I think for Endgame we saw it also the day after. But that one was more annoying because it was Endgame, obviously. It was the biggest thing in the universe when it came out. And also that was back when I was on Twitter. So that also made things more annoying, trying to avoid stuff. And I didn't get spoiled on anything, thankfully. But we had more people this time.
Yep.
But yeah, so I didn't. But my point is, like, normally when I see the movies, I see them like within a couple, basically within the first couple of days that they come out. Normally the second or third day, I would say. The only time I can definitively remember seeing the movie the day it came out was, funny enough, Captain Marvel. I think we saw that one the day it opened. Funny enough, but I think all the other ones have been like a day or two after, which has been fine. But at least as far as I can remember. But this one took the longest. The movie came out on the 31st, and we saw it on the 8th. Which surprised me when I was told, oh yeah, so we got the tickets for the 8th, and I was kind of thinking to myself, the 8th? Really? That's a long wait. That's longer than it's ever been. And then it turns out that, well, they wanted to do it earlier, but they had a bunch of, like, real world stuff they had to deal with. Like, there was like a wedding involved and stuff they were doing and whatnot around that time. So, like, my friend's sister, is like her wedding or whatever, they were planning that. So that was one of the reasons why I had to wait a little longer, but I mean, I can't really complain because they foot the bill on everything. I'm along for the ride, so I don't really get any room to complain, and that's fine. And it wasn't a big deal or anything, but it was a little annoying, admittedly. It's like, really? 8 days? Like, I mean, hey, I'm not gonna complain, but like, I would have hoped for better. But to be fair, I found out that was just kind of, that's probably just gonna be a one-time thing. That's probably not gonna happen again. And that definitely cannot happen with Doomsday. That's for sure. That is we're gonna need to jump on that, like, really quickly, pretty much, before we get blown the heck out. And also because the sooner you see it, you also get to see it with a fresher audience. That'll be more. You wanna know what's funny? No Way Home, like, when we saw it in the theater, and again, we saw it like the day after it came out, so it was still pretty new, right? But not like the initial day one screenings, but still pretty new. I'm sure everyone that was there in that theater, this was their first time seeing it. Funny enough, there wasn't that many like moments where the audience really got like hyped up, Those like theater moments didn't really happen in that particular situation. I think funny enough, Andrew got a bigger applause than Toby did.
That's weird.
But to be fair, Andrew's reveal comes first, and also it's better.
Yeah, so people would expect Toby to come after him.
Right? It's like, well, if we got Andrew, then we all know who's going to come out of the next portal.
Yep.
But also, just like Andrew's was a more eventful, right? He's in the distance, right? Like, hey, Peter, come over here. He's in the distance, And then he has the reveal where he pops in, and then he takes his mask off, and everyone loses their mind, right? But Toby, it's kind of just like he just kind of walks through.
He just walks through.
He's just kind of like, oh yeah, hey guys, there's a portal here, and I don't really know what's going on. It was a lot more, which is funny, because before the movie came out, I was expecting a whole, like, build-up sequence for Toby in particular. Like, I thought, if anything, Andrew was going to get sidelined, right?
Yeah.
Everyone thought it was going to be all about Toby, and Andrew was just going to be like, oh yeah, Andrew's here, because we got to have him, because we got to have all three. But it was going to be all about Toby. He was going to get, you want to know the one thing about No Way Home that I was disappointed? The one thing. The music. Oh. I was hoping we would have gotten to hear more of, like, the old music. Like, I was fully expecting a sequence with Toby where we would get to hear the theme. And that never happened. Well, okay. There is a little bit of the movie where you get to hear it. Same with Andrew. You get to hear, like, the TASM 1 theme for, like, a small section. But it's not this big bombastic, it's not this big, like, theater clapping moment or anything. Like, I was totally expecting them to do that, and they really didn't at all. And if anything, Andrew was the one that got the spotlight, which is funny. But what's also funny is that he was also really good. Right? Like Andrew was the show stealer of that movie, not Toby. If anything, Toby kind of felt like he was along for the ride. He kind of felt like the extra, right? It's Tom's movie, and then Andrew kind of steals the show, and he gets a couple of notable moments, namely the one with MJ, of course. And then Toby's just kind of there, if I'm being honest. Like, it's cool that he's in the movie and everything, but, like, he really is just there. Tom is a character, Andrew's a character, Toby's just like an extra. Pretty much. Like, the only notable scene I can think of that he gets is, like, the whole thing with the web fluid. Like, hey, whoa, you have organic web shooters? That's the only moment I can think of. That's really all that notable. Oh wait, actually, there is that one sequence where, like, Andrew cracks Toby's back on the scaffolding. Okay, so there is that. That was needless. Obviously, all the scenes where they're just interacting are all for me.
Yes.
But now, personally, the meme, like the pointing meme thing, I don't think they needed to do that. But sure, I guess
it just really made the fans like the movie more by having the pointing scene.
Yeah. They even did a whole behind-the-scenes thing on YouTube that's literally called, like, Behind the Meme or something. And they show like the green screen footage of them all pointing to each other on the costumes on set or whatever. And it's just like, and don't get me wrong, it's cool that they have it, but I also don't think they needed to have it either. Which actually, that reminds me, even though they don't mention Toby or Andrew explicitly in like Brand New Day, there is that little nod to like Peter 2. Which I think is Toby.
Yes, it was Toby.
Right. Because that's when he gets the organic web shooters, right?
Yes, that's when he gets the organic web.
Yeah, right. That's when he's like, oh yeah, that's right. Peter 2 had this. So it's like there's your Toby reference.
Yes.
And nothing for Andrew, but hey, you got something. Not that I was expecting him to do anything. I didn't expect them to acknowledge No Way Home pretty much at all, outside of like, the whole MJ net forgetting thing. So I was even surprised that we got that Peter 2 nod, but but yeah, it really is funny just how much Andrew stole the show in that movie. Like, he really did show that, like, yeah, his movies, I haven't seen them myself, but I know his movies, particularly the second one, are not known for not being great. But like, if Andrew had a Brand New Day level movie behind him, he would be like really, really good. Like, if he just had the script and the story and the direction, man, he really would have been great. Which is why after No Way Home, people were like, TASM 3. Just give us TASM 3. I mean, I'd see a TASM 3, but I doubt they're gonna do it. Again, I'm sure we'll see him again. I just don't think they're gonna do another movie only with him, though. I think that ship has sailed. Same with like Spider-Man 4. I think that ship has also sailed. Even though people always like to speculate, it's like the pipe dream that we'll get. Sam Raimi will come back and Sony will get out of his way and not interfere this time, and they'll let him actually tell the story he wants to tell. And the series can end on like a high note that everyone likes. I mean, people like Spider-Man 3, but it is considered the worst one, and that's
yes, it is.
But it does have all the memes though, so it has that going. It also has the black suit theme is also really good. That's a really good theme. Which wasn't even Danny Elfman, because he didn't do that movie. It was like Christopher Young did the third one. That was a really good track. That's fun, because I remember when Spider-Man 2, like the game Spider-Man 2, when the first trailer for that came out, and there was that scene at the end where Peter's like in the black suit and Miles is like, he's not like this, he's never like this, right? And people edited that scene to add the because it just works too well. It's like anytime I think of the black suit, I think of that theme, because it's just such a good theme. It's a shame that like whenever they inevitably do like the black suit Venom stuff in the MCU, it's not. They're not going to have a theme like that. They're not going to have a theme as good as that for the black suit. Although, hey, it is a Sony movie technically. They're not really making it, so they could always just use it.
They could.
They could. I'm sure they could if they really wanted to. They're not going to.
Yeah.
Nor should they. I'm sure people would complain. Why did they just reuse the theme? That's lazy and that's stealing from it. People would complain. but it is such a good theme. Oh god, I need to open that door, but I can't really get up.